March 31st, 1993. Brandon Lee is dead, shot on a movie set, 28 years old, exactly 20 years after his father's mysterious death, the same age his father was at the peak of his powers, on a film about a man who comes back from the dead. Coincidence? Let me show you what they found in Brandon's apartment 3 weeks before he died. But first we need to go back, because Brandon Lee's story doesn't start with a bullet. It starts with a shadow. 1973. Brandon is 8 years old. His father is the most famous martial artist in the world, larger than life, immortal. Then one day his father doesn't come home. Nobody tells Brandon immediately. They're trying to protect him. But he knows, he feels it. The house is too quiet. His mother is crying behind closed doors. The phone won't stop ringing. When they finally tell him, Brandon doesn't cry. He just asks one question. How? Nobody can give him a good answer. A headache, a pill, cerebral edema. An 8-year-old doesn't understand those words. What he understands is this. His father, the strongest man in the world, died from a headache. It doesn't make sense. And for the rest of Brandon's life, it will never make sense. 1975. Oakland, California. Brandon is 10. Kids at school whisper, point, laugh. Your dad died from being too Chinese. Curse of the dragon. Your family is cursed. Brandon gets in fights. A lot of fights. Not because he's angry. Because he's trying to prove something. That Lee men don't die mysteriously. That there's no curse. That he's not afraid. But he is afraid. Terrified, actually. Every headache feels like a death sentence. Every pain could be the one. The thing that killed his father. Linda takes him to the doctor constantly. Does your head hurt? Is your vision blurry? Any dizziness? Brandon learns to lie. I'm fine, Mom. Even when he's not. Because if he admits to a headache, she panics. Rushes him to the hospital, demands brain scans. The doctors find nothing. He's a healthy boy. But healthy boys don't lose their fathers to headaches, so the fear remains. At night, Brandon lies in bed, listening, waiting. For what, he doesn't know. The thing that took his father, the curse, the mystery. His sister Shannon, 2 years younger, copes differently. She becomes quiet, withdrawn, a ghost in her own life. But Brandon becomes loud, rebellious, anything to feel alive. His mother Linda notices, takes him to doctors, therapists. They all say the same thing. He's traumatized. He needs time. But time doesn't help, because every year on July 20th, the media reminds him. Anniversary specials. The mystery of Bruce Lee's death. 20 years later. What really killed the dragon? They interview Linda. They interview Bruce's friends. Sometimes they try to interview Brandon. He refuses. By age 12, Brandon has developed a routine. Every July 20th, he locks himself in his room. Won't come out. Won't eat. He's not mourning. He's trying to survive the day without becoming a headline himself. Bruce Lee's son breaks down on anniversary of father's death. He won't give them that. Brandon grows up in a ghost shadow. Not just any ghost, a perfect one. Because dead heroes don't make mistakes. They don't get old. They don't disappoint. Bruce Lee frozen at 32. Forever young, forever perfect, forever impossible to live up to. 1986. Brandon is 21. He's trying to act. Small roles, TV movies. Nobody takes him seriously. You're only getting work because of your last name. You'll never be as good as your father. The comparisons are endless and crushing. Every audition is the same. Can you do martial arts? Show us a Bruce Lee move. Brandon does the moves, gets the role, hates himself a little more. His first film, Legacy of Rage. The irony isn't lost on him. On set, the director keeps saying, think of what your father would do. Brandon wants to scream, my father is dead. I'm here. Look at me. But he doesn't, and drinks. That's the thing nobody talks about. Brandon is self-destructing, slowly, quietly. You're just like your father, Linda says one night. No, I'm nothing like him. But is he? The obsession, the self-destruction? He refuses to believe it, so he trains, but adds what his father never did. Motorcycle racing, rock climbing, skydiving, anything dangerous, anything that makes him feel alive. You're being reckless, his stunt coordinator warns. I know what I'm doing. You're going to get hurt. Good. Then at least I'll feel something. Brandon dyes his hair, gets tattoos, a crow on his shoulder, years before the crow role, plays guitar in a rock band, everything his father never did, everything that says I'm not him. But Hollywood has one role for Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son. Every script, every offer, never. We want you because you're talented. Brandon is cast in Laser Mission. Terrible script, but it's a lead role. On set, they compare him to his father constantly. Brandon snaps. My father is dead. Stop comparing me to a corpse. The film is terrible. Brandon knows it. In an interview. It's garbage, but at least it's my garbage. Don't you want to honor your father's legacy? Brandon leans forward. I want to create my own legacy. Is that allowed? The interview doesn't air. Too controversial, but Brandon doesn't care. 1991. Brandon gets cast in Showdown in Little Tokyo, an action film, martial arts, the whole deal. It's not what he wants, but it's a paycheck, and maybe, just maybe, a way to step out of the shadow. On set, something happens. A stunt goes wrong. Brandon is supposed to jump through a window. Sugar glass, supposed to be safe. But someone mixed real glass in by mistake. Brandon jumps, crashes through, lands hard, blood everywhere. The director panics. Brandon sits up, wiping blood from his face, and laughs. I'm fine. Lee men are hard to kill. The crew goes silent. The irony too heavy. That night, Brandon can't sleep. Lee men are hard to kill. Is that true? His father died at 32. Mysteriously, maybe Lee men aren't hard to kill. Maybe they die too easily. Brandon calls his mother. 2 a.m. Mom, where are Dad's old notebooks? Linda goes quiet. In the garage. But Brandon, be careful. Some of what's in there isn't the man the world remembers. The next week, Brandon sits in that garage, surrounded by boxes. His father's journals spread around him. Hours pass. The early entries are enthusiastic. But as years progress, the tone darkens. 1971. Back bothering me, but pain is temporary. 1972. Took painkillers again. Need to cut back. After this film. 1973. Headaches worse. Will rest. After Enter the Dragon. Then he finds it. March 1973. 4 months before Bruce died. I feel like I'm racing against time. Like my body is a machine running out of fuel. But I can't stop. If I stop, I lose everything. The pain is constant now. But pain is just weakness leaving the body, right? That last word. Right? His father was asking, not stating, trying to convince himself. Brandon's hands shake. Last entry. July 18, 1973. 2 days before Bruce died. Headaches bad today, but I can't stop now. Enter the Dragon releases next month. After this, I'll rest. I promise. After this. Linda finds him hours later. Tears on his face. He knew, Mom. He was falling apart and lying to himself about it. I know, I watched it happen. I begged him to stop. How does the strongest man in the world die from a headache? Linda closes her eyes. The doctors told me after. His organs were failing. His brain swelling because his body couldn't process the drugs anymore. July 20th wasn't the day he died. It was just the day his body finally gave up. Brandon stands. So all the conspiracy theories, the curse, the mystery, all bullshit? Yes. Dad killed himself, slowly. And we've been pretending it was mysterious? People need mysteries. That night, Brandon writes in his own journal. I understand now. It wasn't a curse. It was himself. He couldn't stop. I won't make that mistake. After this film, I'm done. After this, I'm just Brandon. 3 weeks later, he's dead. 1992. Brandon gets the role of his career. The Crow, a dark, gothic revenge story. A musician who comes back from the dead to avenge his murdered fiancée. It's perfect for him. Dark, edgy, nothing like his father. He's engaged to Eliza Hutton, planning a wedding, finally happy, finally free. Filming starts in February 1993, Wilmington, North Carolina. The production is troubled from the start. Budget cuts, time constraints, safety shortcuts. But Brandon is electric on camera. This is his moment, his breakthrough, his chance to step out of the shadow forever. March 13th, 1993, 3 weeks before his death. Brandon is in his trailer, reading his father's journal, the one he found 2 years ago. He's been carrying it with him. His co-star, Michael Massey, knocks. "You okay, man?" "Yeah, just thinking about my dad." "What about him?" Brandon shows him an entry, dated March 1973, 4 months before Bruce died. "I feel like I'm racing against time, like my body is a machine running out of fuel, but I can't stop. If I stop, I lose everything. The pain is constant now, but pain is just weakness leaving the body, right?" Michael reads it, looks at Brandon. "That's heavy." Brandon nods. He was trying to convince himself. You can see it. Every entry gets more desperate, more manic. He was falling apart and couldn't admit it. "Why are you reading this?" "Because I need to understand. How does the strongest man in the world die from a headache? It doesn't make sense unless..." "Unless what?" Brandon looks at him. "Unless he was already dying. Unless the headache was just the final symptom of years of damage." That night, Brandon writes in his own journal, "They'll find this after his death. I understand now what killed Dad. It wasn't a curse. It wasn't a mystery. It was himself. He pushed so hard he forgot he was human. I won't make that mistake. I'm going to marry Eliza, start a family, live a normal life, step out of the shadow. This film is my last action movie. After this, I'm done trying to be a martial arts star." 3 weeks later, he's dead. March 31st, 1993. The final scene of The Crow. Eric Draven Brandon is shot by street thugs. His fiancée is killed. The scene that sets up the entire movie. It's 1 a.m. They're running behind schedule. Everyone is exhausted. The gun that's supposed to fire blanks has been used in a previous scene, a scene where it fired dummy rounds for a close-up. Someone removed the bullets, but left the primer. Nobody checked. Now it's loaded with blanks for this scene. Blanks are harmless. They make noise and flash. No projectile, except there's a fragment, a piece of the dummy round's bullet, stuck in the barrel. When the blank fires, it acts like real gunpowder. The fragment becomes a real bullet. Michael Massey pulls the trigger, the gun fires, the fragment shoots out. Brandon is hit in the abdomen. He falls. Everyone thinks he's acting. "Great take, Brandon!" But Brandon isn't getting up. Someone notices blood. Real blood. "Cut! Cut! Something's wrong!" They rush to Brandon. He's conscious, confused. "I think I got hit for real." The ambulance takes 30 minutes to arrive. Every minute counts. Every minute is one closer to the end. At the hospital, they operate for hours. The fragment tore through his abdomen. Massive internal bleeding. But Brandon is strong. A fighter, like his father. For hours, he holds on. Then at 1:03 p.m. on March 31st, 1993, Brandon Lee dies. Exactly 20 years after his father became a superstar, 6 weeks before his wedding, 8 days before his 28th birthday, one scene away from finishing his breakthrough film. The doctors call it a tragic accident. The police call it negligent homicide but press no charges. The media calls it the curse. But here's what they found in his apartment. His father's journal, open to the last entry Bruce ever wrote, July 18th, 1973, 2 days before his death. "I've been having headaches, bad ones, but I can't stop now. Enter the Dragon is about to be released. This is everything I've worked for. After this, I'll rest. I promise myself. After this." Next to it, Brandon's journal, open to his last entry, March 29th, 1993, 2 days before his death. "I'm exhausted. We're behind schedule. They're cutting safety corners, but we're almost done. Just a few more scenes. After this, I'm free. I can finally live my own life. After this, 2 fathers, 2 sons, 2 promises of after this. Neither made it to after this. But here's what haunts me. Brandon spent his whole life trying to escape his father's shadow. Different hair, different style, different choices. Yet in the end, their stories are mirrors. Both died young. Both died unexpectedly. Both died on the verge of their biggest success. Both died surrounded by people who couldn't save them. And both died because someone cut corners. Bruce's doctor cut corners with his treatment. Brandon's film crew cut corners with safety. The Lees didn't die from a curse. They died from carelessness, from systems that value results over safety, from industries that push people past their limits. After Brandon's death, they find something else. A letter he wrote to Eliza, meant to be read at their wedding. I spent my whole life afraid I'd end up like my father, dying young, dying mysteriously. But I realize now that's not my fear. My fear is dying without having truly lived my own life. I'm done being Bruce Lee's son. After this film, I'm just Brandon. You're Brandon. And that's enough. He never got to give her that letter. The Crow was released in May 1994, 1 year after Brandon's death. It's dedicated to him and Eliza. The film is a massive success. Brandon's performance is haunting. Critics call it a revelation. He would have been a star. In the film, Eric Draven comes back from the dead to avenge his murdered fiancée. The tagline, "Believe in angels." The cruel irony is suffocating. Brandon Lee came back from the dead on screen, but in real life, he stayed dead, just like his father. At Brandon's funeral, they play a video message he recorded for the cast and crew, a wrapped gift meant to be shown when filming finished. In it, Brandon smiles, that Lee family smile, confident, fearless. Thanks for making this film with me. It's been a hell of a ride. I can't wait for you all to see the finished product. I think we made something special, something that'll live forever. He was right. The film lives forever. He doesn't. But here's the thing about the Lee family curse. It's not supernatural. It's not mystical. It's not about dragons or destiny. It's about patterns. Bruce pushed his body until it broke. Brandon pushed his career into a film that cut safety corners. Both refused to slow down. Both said, after this. Both ran out of time. The curse isn't magic. It's momentum. It's the inability to stop. It's the belief that pausing means losing. And it killed them both. Bruce Lee's journal sits in a museum now. Brandon's journal is with his widow. Both filled with dreams of after this. Both authors never made it to after this. On Brandon's tombstone, next to his father's, are two words. For Eliza. Not for his career, not for his legacy, not for his father's shadow, for the life he almost got to live, the wedding that never happened, the family he never started, the man he never got to become. When Michael Massey, the actor who pulled the trigger, was asked about that night, he said, "I see Brandon's face every day, every single day. He looked at me right before the scene and said, 'Make it look real.' So I did, and it was real, and I killed him." Michael never acted with guns again. He suffered from depression and PTSD. He died in 2016, never forgiving himself. Another victim of March 31st, 1993. The thing about the Lee family is this. Everyone wants to know the mystery, the how, the why, the supernatural explanation. But the real story is simpler and sadder. Two men, two generations, both running from something, both pushing too hard, both saying just a little more, both dying with unfinished business. Bruce Lee was going to rest after Enter the Dragon. Brandon Lee was going to quit action films after The Crow. Neither made it, not because of a curse, because they forgot the lesson both spent their lives teaching. Be like water, adapt, flow, know when to stop. Bruce wrote it, couldn't live it. Brandon learned it from his father's mistakes. Still couldn't live it. The same lesson, the same failure, 20 years apart. And now they rest side by side. Two headstones in Lakeview Cemetery, Seattle. Father and son, dragon and crow. Both died too young. Both died too soon. Both died one step away from everything they wanted. The Lee family curse isn't about bad luck. It's about being unable to stop. And the scariest part? We're all at risk. Every time you say, just one more hour, every time you push past the pain, Every time you ignore the warning signs, every time you promise yourself you'll rest after this, you're living the Lee family curse. Bruce Lee died at 32. Brandon Lee died at 28. How old are you? And what are you pushing toward that might push back? Bruce's last words were, "I'm fine. Never felt better." Brandon's last words were, "I think I got hit for real." Both were right. Both were wrong. The dragon taught the world about strength. The crow taught the world about resurrection. But neither could save themselves. And that's the real tragedy. Not that they died, but that they died doing exactly what they promised themselves they'd stop doing.